I've been shooting with vintage Nikon film lenses for a really long time, and I would say that it's easily one of the best investments that I've made as a filmmaker. Sorry, my cat is gonna be walking around, so just ignore her. These lenses are fast, they're sharp, they render light beautifully, and they're full of character. And best of all, they're really affordable. I think I got them all off KEH.com, and I'm pretty sure that the 85 was the only one that cost more than 200 bucks. They're incredibly easy to find. They're all over Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, and probably even garage sales. So you can put together an entire set for what one new cinema lens would cost. And they're easily adaptable, so this is a set of lenses that you can invest in and then use for your entire career. And these things are built like tanks, so they're probably gonna outlive you. Which, I don't know if you can say that about a lens like a Rokinon, which I think produces a nice image, but I don't know if they're gonna be around for the long haul and you're still gonna be using them in 20 years. I've declicked the aperture rings and added follow focus gears, as well as 82mm step-up rings so that all my filters will fit on it. But honestly, I don't think you need to do any of that stuff. All that stuff really does is add convenience, but I feel like a lot of people feel like they're supposed to, or that it makes their lens look cooler. But really, at the end of the day, what matters is the image quality of the lens. The character of a lens is kind of ineffable, and it's totally subjective. So you can't really say that these lenses are better than any other particular lenses, because it's all personal preference. Some people might hate the way that these look and prefer the way a Canon FD lens looks, or a brand new lens, and that's totally fine. It's all about what you're into. I've got all kinds of lenses, including new lenses with autofocus, but I really like having a full set of vintage primes that are fully manual and come in a wide range of focal lengths from 24mm all the way up to 135mm. Having manual controls is really nice, and depending on the project, I usually prefer the tactile experience of focusing manually. I also like the Nikons because the focusing mechanism is the opposite of other lenses. When you're using a follow focus and you want to move the focus further away from you, you turn the follow focus away from you, and when you want to bring it closer to you, you turn it towards you, which, just to me at least, feels more intuitive. But also, I've just been doing it for so long that way that it feels second nature to me at this point. But again, that's just my personal preference. None of this stuff is qualitatively better or worse than any other kind of lens. To me, when I'm using these lenses, it makes me consider when I'm setting up a shot more. Because I have to switch the lens if I want to change the focal length, it makes me consider what a 24mm would look like versus a 35mm, where I want to set the camera, and what I want included in the frame. When you've got a zoom lens with autofocus, you can zip around the room and pick shots off really quickly. But for these lenses, you kind of have to slow down a little bit and consider what you're framing up, which may or may not be what you want. It's such a cliche to say that you should marry your glass and date your cameras, but I honestly think that it's a cliche for a reason. In 2 years, you're probably going to want to upgrade your camera body to something new and shiny, but some of these lenses have been around for 40 or 50 years, so they're gonna last for the long haul. I've used these lenses with a Panasonic GH2, an Olympus Micro Four Thirds camera, a Canon 6D, a Blackmagic Pocket 4K, and now my Sony FX3. And all I had to do was buy a cheap adapter, and the image quality looks good no matter what the sensor size, the mount, whatever. It can be nice to have native lenses that use autofocus, but there are new adapters and LiDAR systems that allow you to use vintage manual lenses like this with autofocus on newer cameras. But to me, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of these. I like the different experience and the different image quality that these provide. And they're also a great budget-friendly option for filmmakers, which when you start throwing on expensive LiDAR systems, at that point, you might as well just go buy a new lens that has autofocus. I'm not telling you that you should go out and buy these specific Nikon lenses, because there's a ton of really great options out there, but I would recommend that you start to build a set of old glass into your kit. The beauty of buying old glass like this is that you don't have to go all in at once. Try out a few different kinds and see which one you like the look of best, and then maybe just start by buying a 50mm. You can get one of these vintage Nikon 50mm for like $100, and then you can just go from there. I'm always curious to hear what kind of vintage lenses other people are using. So if you've got any vintage glass in your kit, let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this about movies and filmmaking, be sure to hit the old subscribe button. And I will see you in the next one.